Alright, hello everybody. I'm Keith Hull and I own Stone Culture. We're just going to do a little more flint knapping today to show you some more aspects of the art. One of the things that you want to watch out for when you're knapping a preform, I don't know if it shows up very well, but you see this shiny spot right here on the stone. That's where it wasn't ground, and so your flaker just wants to slide off of there. And when I grind a preform, this is very rough, so my napper grabs right on. What you can do if you have a little shiny spot on your stone is just take a little tiny sharpening stone or even a piece of basalt and you run it over that spot a few times and it will rough up the area. Another thing that you can do is take some 80 grit sandpaper and hit it with 80 grit sandpaper, and that'll do the same thing. Now in my other video it wasn't very clear where I placed my flaker, so I'm going to show you. I'm just taking the flaker and I'm putting it right about here. Now I'm pushing inward before I push down, and I'm kind of rolling my wrist just to make it easier on myself. And what happens is your stone just breaks right off. And ideally what I try to do is I try to keep my flint knapper down to a very sharp point. This one's actually kind of dull, so it's making my flakes really wide. The sharper your point is, the sharper your flakes will be, or the smaller your flakes will be. Now what you want to look for when you're making your nap, as you see right here is my flake line. If I just move over half of a width, I can flake right here again. If I move over too far, I'll show you what happens when I move over too far. It leaves a spot in between. So what I want to do is I actually want to overlap my flake lines a little bit. Now if you can see here in this video, hopefully, you can see how wide that flake is right there. And I'm moving just over to this side of it, and I'm going to run my next flake run there. And then I'm going to move over again a little ways, just a little bit further each time. Now the harder I press and the more inward pressure I use, the further my flake will run. And I can get them to run all the way across about a 2-inch blade. But generally if I have a blade that wide, I'm just going to try to run to the middle, and then when I come back from the other side, I'll do the same thing. Now you can see here I'm having a hard time breaking that flake off, and I don't know if you could see, but there's actually a little tiny ridge right here, and it's just like the other shiny spot. So what I've got to do is come back to my last flake and get closer to it before I can break that off. And then the further you get towards the tip, the less and less pressure you're using, because you don't have to shoot the flake very far to get it across. And you can see here, this side's nearly done. There's a couple little spot here that didn't quite shoot all the way across, so I'm just going to come back around. I'm going to nap that again. And that's all the way finished on that side now. See if you can get the flake lines to show up in the lighting a little bit. There you go. And now I'm going to do this side of the stone. And again, here's a little shiny spot on my blank. So I'm going to take my stone here, and I'm just going to scratch that glass up so it's nice and rough. What it does is it more or less just erases that spot. Kind of like a magic eraser. So I'm going to flake back across my point. The more pressure, like I mentioned, the wider my flakes will be, and sometimes that's kind of nice. I like to just make different blades with different styles, and sometimes just shooting the flakes really wide gives the blade a different look. There's different ways you can experiment with it to get different effects. And again, this snapped all the way across here, so I'm just going to start right here at this spot. And then I'm going to cheat on this blade. This is a little bit more advanced napping. For those of you who are fortunate enough to have a wet grinder, I'm actually going to grind this blank back and give myself a new platform edge. So I'll pause the video here and I'll be back in a second. Okay, we're back for the second part of our video now. What I've done is I've taken my wet grinder and I've ground the edge of this platform very thin so that I can nap it. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start at the end here, and I'm going to take off small bites as I go. Again, I'm not napping as far inward, so I'm pushing more downward this time instead of inward, because I don't have to shoot the flakes very far. And as I go, just going to keep sliding the blade down, fitting my hand a little bit better, and keep right on going all the way down the length here. You can see this blade now, it's flaked again all the way across. You can see the area up here that's not been flaked. So I'm going to flip my blade over and I'm going to come back down this side. I know YouTube's got a maximum limit on the size of a movie that you can upload, so probably have to do some editing and maybe stop along the way here and come back with the more important stuff. Okay, and here's my blade finished on one side now. Hopefully that shows up well. Now what I'm going to do is flip my blade over and do the back side here. Again, I'm just going to start at one end, and I like to work away from my body, but whatever is more comfortable for you. Some people like to work towards their body, some people like to work away, and it's really whatever's comfortable for you. There's no specific way that is better than the other. One thing that's pretty important is your posture, and having your legs at the right angle. If you're sitting in a chair where your leg's down too far or up too high, you're not going to be able to nap very well. Just finish the bottom edge here, and now to come back and do the top. If you're interested in buying one of my blades, I do sell at on Facebook under Stone Culture at live.com. I also sell on flintnappers.com and eBay under www.stoneculturenet, and that's a finished product right there. This is now ready to be put into a haft, and sometimes I carve a little animal on the haft, and sometimes I just go with the way that it is. Hope you enjoyed this video and hope that it helped you out. If you have any questions, feel free to email me, stoneculture@live.com. Thanks and good napping to you.